You're listening to Wicked Thoughts, a podcast by Flair Castro, founder of DashoContent. This show is dedicated to helping founders and professionals understand business trends, digital marketing, and how to be a better entrepreneur. In Season 6, we dive into a dash of AI in marketing, exploring how artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the marketing landscape. From automation to personalization, we'll uncover the impact of AI on marketing strategies and execution. Let's get into it in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Dashed and Wicked Thoughts webinar and podcast series. For Season 6, we are tackling AI in marketing. I'm Flair Castro, your host, founder and CEO of DashoContent. Well, DashoContent, we are a content subscription platform and an AI marketing company. We help marketing teams and startups supercharge storytelling for their brands through content, code, and community. Now, Dashed here is our education arm, and Wicked Thoughts is my personal podcast. So we thought about combining both initiatives to champion AI in marketing for Southeast Asia. Without further delay, let me introduce to you our guest today on the pod to talk about HR in marketing and, of course, artificial intelligence. We have the privilege of introducing our guest, Bo Discarga, CEO of Better Team. Bo here is an experienced HR leader and founder and CEO of Better Team, a company using AI to solve pressing employee experience and retention challenges globally. With over 15 years managing employee experience in the offshoring and outsourcing sectors, Bo here has helped major firms like Bank of America and JP Morgan Chase to improve morale, productivity, and retention. His deep expertise in areas like organizational development and change management drive Better Team's innovative AI solutions. So please join us in welcoming Bo Discarga. Hi, Bo.
Hey, Blair. Hey, everyone. Thank you for having
Welcome,
me.
welcome to the podcast.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, do a bit of introduction about yourself.
Okay, a little bit about myself. So, yeah, Bo Discarga. I am the founder and CEO of this company called Better Team. Better Team is a predictive analytics platform. We're heavily focused on utilizing artificial intelligence to predict the likelihood of employees from leaving their jobs. So, we're basically feeding our clients with tons of employee data so they can better manage employee experience in their organization, which we believe to be contributing to the overall decision of an employee whether they wanted to stay or leave their organization. So, and as you mentioned prior to that, I have been doing HR. HR has been in my DNA. Um, over 15 years of experience doing HR, and basically what we're trying to solve in Better Team is something that I personally experienced when I used to do HR for those companies that you had mentioned. I thought I'm the only ones, experiencing those pains. But then when we've launched Better Team, we've realized that it is actually a challenge that most of HR people, at least in the market that we're serving, is experiencing. So that's who I am and the company that we're building.
Okay, let's go a bit back. College, what course did you take? I don't want to understand how you got started with your startup or in this field in particular. So going back, college, what did you take? What did you
Well,
graduate from? Anong
yeah,
course? Yeah.
yeah. So I took international studies, but prior to that, I completed at least a semester of philosophy at the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. Pero as you guys know, di ba, in PUP, you really have to work so hard. Walang masyadong professor. They're not coming into the class. So you would have to digest it you pretty much need to digest all of the lessons by yourself. But the thing is, during that time, I thought it's not for me. And so I
Mm,
decided that, you know what, I want to transfer to a different university. And so I went to the Far Eastern University in Moraita.
mm.
And that's where I shifted to international studies.
Wow.
So, kasi I think that was the time when there's a heated conversation around our disputes with some other countries and all that. And so I said, you know what,
Mm.
I wanted to become a lawyer, but I don't want to take political science because everyone's doing political science.
That is true.
I want to take something new. And sabi ko, international studies, bago sa pandinig. And so I took up international studies.
And then when you graduated, how did you come up with being an HR professional? How did it transition to that?
No, I never planned to really be an HR person, to be honest with you. Because I really wanted to become a lawyer.
Yeah.
That's really the path that I want to take. Um, pero nag-aaral ako, I was in college, I'm also employed sa BPO. And
Mm,
in
hustler. Wow.
yeah, in the BPO sector, I'm already, I'm an agent. I'm
Mm,
taking calls for this big firm. So I totally understand the job, right? It was just that during my stint in this one BPO company, one of my friends who was part of HR back then
mm,
asked me if I wanted to join him and help him in, executing some events and engagement activities.
right.
And I told him that yeah, let's do it. And that's really opened the door for me sa HR space.
The world of
So
HR.
yeah,
Ayun.
I did a lot of engagement activities, a lot of employee experience related strategies and activities, which then led me into understanding some other functions of the human resources. Then sabi ko, I'm not gonna go back to school anymore. I'm just gonna stay doing HR.
You enjoyed your stint, right?
Yeah,
In the
yeah,
BPO doing HR functions. And for sure, you found out a lot of pain points during your stint. What were the top, I would say, top three that you recognize these are recurring problems in an
yeah.
organization or in the BPO sector in HR? What
Right.
were those?
Hmm. Top three. I would say number one, we would have to deal with a lot of systems. So as an HR person, we're dealing with a lot of employee data. And
Yeah,
when I say employee data, we're not just referring to their demographics, what they have completed in college, and all of those things. We're also dealing with
right.
their performance attainment,
Yeah,
changes on their what do you call this, on their marital statuses, as well as their dependents and all of those things. And so in HR, we have to deal with a minimum of 10 systems, 8 to 10 systems.
that's a
And
lot.
that's just very challenging because the thing about all of these systems, they are not talking to each other. So we would have to deal with them individually. So I think that's one of the biggest pain, most especially if you are in the strategy function of the human resource. Second would probably be the perception that HR is more of like an expense department in a company.
Right. Yeah.
I say that as a challenge primarily because if we have some strategy that we wanted to implement or anything that we wanted to spend on as an HR function, we would have to build a really solid business case for it. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we are typically facing in general. And then the third is really the stakeholder management.
Right.
Stakeholder management in a sense that you will encounter a lot of people, executives, managers that will push what they wanted, and you as an HR professional, it is your role to make sure that you balance the interests of the company, I mean the business and the employees. And sometimes that
True.
gets challenged, all throughout that HR journey that you may be having. So those are the top three, I must say.
That's quite interesting in your field. And everyone is familiar with HR, right? I mean, if you have worked at all at a company, you would have your dealings with HR. And I like how you thought about you're usually torn between the management and also the employee,
Yeah.
diba? So what are the common challenges here? Like, what's a story that you can share na parang this is quite challenging for me to decide whether I should side with management or side with the employee.
hmm Maybe one example, actual experience that I had was when I was a consultant for this one line of business where I've seen that they have been asking their people to do a lot of overtime hours. And during an employee survey and focus group discussions that I conducted, I figured that employees are now becoming burnout and so exhausted because of those mandatory overtime hours that they would have to do as requested by the business. And so I gathered the leadership team of that line of business and asked them as to as to the reasons why the employees would have to do overtime hours, obviously discussing to them the effect of this mandate, to the overall welfare of their employees. And apparently we figured that it was because of their inability to forecast the volumes that are coming
Right.
into their line of business. And so I was like telling them, if they feel that there's going to be an X number of volumes, that's not enough to be covered by the existing number of heads that they have in their line of business, then they might want to consider opening, some roles and hire additional people to answer to those volumes. And as you know, business people, they don't want to spend additional volume, and
That's
so
right.
they would rather ask their people to do overtime rather than hire new people to answer to the volume. So that was a very tough conversation for me, because now I can understand them from a business perspective, that they are trying to reserve some of their P&L, but at the same time, I can feel the frustration of the employees, because employees are basically doing more than what they have signed up for. Um, and so that's one of the biggest challenges that we have faced, actually.
Choosing between management versus employee, because at the end of the day, they're still your boss, diba?
Yeah,
You have to
exactly.
work with them.
And you would
Okay,
have to make them understand why that's the position of HR, because I'm like
for
telling them,
sure.
guys, you gotta have to start finding new people to answer to those volumes, most especially if you feel that those volume will stay for an X
For
number of months. Or
duration.
yeah.
But I'm sure it's not as hard as building a startup. So how did you come up with the idea of Better Team? Is this your first startup or did you have another one before Better Team? When did the journey of being a startup founder start? When did it start?
hmm I am fairly new in the idea of startup, to be honest with you, but I have been doing business already. Like,
Mm.
prior to doing Better Team, I have my own events company that unfortunately was affected by the pandemic. Prior to that, I do buy and sell too. Like, I'm gonna buy stuff
Wow.
at a very low cost, and I'm gonna sell it like on a margin. And I didn't realize that that could roll up to, maybe doing startup as well. So I'm not new in doing business in general,
Right. Yeah.
but building something like Better Team is absolutely new to me. It's
Right.
new in a sense that this is no longer like, you're dealing with other people's money.
It's different. True.
It's different, meaning you are answerable to whatever you have raised, and at the same time, it's a pretty
Agree.
formal endeavor, because now with Better Team, I would have to understand financial forecasting, pricing model, go to market strategies, and all of those things. With the other businesses that I had, I didn't bother looking at those. So long as I'm getting some sort of profit, I'm good with it. But with Better Team, yeah, it's totally different. You're asking me how I started with it.
Yes.
It was really my stint at my last employer who exposed me to the technology. Um, so I know what the pain that I'm experiencing, and I know that it is something that needs to be solved, right? And I personally feel during that time that it is highly likely that my peers in the same space are experiencing the same thing. So I know that I need to build the technology that I had in my mind during that
I'll
time.
stop you right there. What's that pain point? Can you hone in on that?
Yeah, it's really the unwanted resignations that we've been experiencing. You see, Flair, we are JP Morgan of the world. We are Bank of America of the world. We are Accenture of the world. Everyone wanted to be part of our organization. But the thing is, despite of our outstanding employer branding, we are still experiencing a lot of unwanted resignation. And the thing is, these are unwanted. So that's the operating word, meaning we don't want to lose these people. They are high performing people. And the fact that they're leaving our organization, not only it is affecting the performance of our business, but at the same time, it is sort of like a wake up call for all of us that, hey, you may be the Accenture, you may be whatever these big guys out there, but you are still subject to unwanted resignation. And so in my mind, how about those small ones that are trying to compete with us? The Accenture, the Bank of America,
Right.
the JP Morgan. I am pretty sure that they have bigger problem there. And that's where my business mindset came in. I can build this technology, and then I'm going to sell this technology to the small guys who are trying to outdo the big guys, which on this case, my employers, right? And so during my stint with my last employer, that's where I got exposed to artificial intelligence, algorithms, technology. You see, Blair, I'm an HR person. I'm an international studies graduate. I don't know
Right.
all of these computer
The
terms, right?
code part, right?
Yes. I don't even know financial modeling, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm just learning all of these things now. So during that time, I'm so amazed. Like, my eyes are all open. I'm like, oh gosh, machine learning and all of those things. And so I figured that I have this pain. I know that there's a market for it. And this is the technology that I can build. And so I started visualizing it, studying it while I'm still employed, until such time that I said to myself, you know what? Let's do it.
So what is
So
Better Team all about?
So Better Team is really an AI platform that is built to predict the likelihood of an employee from leaving. So you, Flair, being a founder and
Magic,
CEO,
right?
yeah. So yeah, it's like it's like a sci-fi, magic where we get to tell you in advance who are these people that are thinking of leaving your organization. So prior to you receiving the resignation letter, you already knew that these are the folks that's going to be leaving your organization, and it's a big help for a lot of companies. Number one, they get to plan for what the future may look like, because during the pandemic we were all not ready, right? Second, aside from planning, you can forecast the potential impact in your overall productivity and service offering. Again, being ready for what might happen in the future. So that's really what Better Team is all about.
Galing. So on the technology part, because you mentioned that your international studies, your HR, how did you come up with, you understand that you have to build this kind of technology. How did you build your team around building Better Team?
Mm. So I think I'm just so lucky that I met someone who's into the technology space for quite a long time. At the very beginning of our business, I you know I also experienced finding it hard to attract talents, because obviously now the world of work became borderless, and so a lot of companies, especially startups, are now hiring directly in the Philippines. And the good thing
Right.
about it is that they can
Competing
pay
with
in
them.
dollars, right?
Yeah.
And so the local startups, local businesses in the Philippines is basically competing against these international businesses that are coming into the country. I'm just so lucky that during that time I met with my now ex CTO, who had a software boutique, and it was him who brought in talents from the provinces, who, by the way, absolutely outstanding performers, can deliver. So I would say sometimes more than what
Where are they
what
from? Cebu? Joke.
they're all from Pangasinan. They're from
Wow.
Pangasinan. So outstanding people can absolutely deliver. And I'm always telling folks, whatever the Better Team of today is basically built in Pangasinan. So so these are the people that I'm able to onboard as technology folks to build a Better Team now. But really, it
Galing.
was I'm glad that I met that guy that enabled us
Help
to
you
attract,
jumpstart.
yeah,
Right.
tech
Yeah.
talents, correct.
Okay, so now you have the technology. You brought in customers, clients for sure. What was their feedback of having Better Team now as part of their um, tools in
When
HR?
Yeah, when they are trying it out, the common thing that you are going to hear from them is really their visibility on the potential financial impact in their business. So if there's one thing that I've realized, would be that number one, businesses are very sensitive on anything related to money. So
True.
so
True.
if they will hear that Better Team is charging this amount, automatically you will see their eyebrows is, um what to call this, and
Why, how
then
much is it to have Better Team as
no, it's
part
just
of our
it, it
superpower?
it's just $1.99 per active employee monthly.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah. For the Philippines, it's a little bit expensive, but if you're gonna go out, obviously $1.99 in the US is just a small amount of money, small
True.
amount of investment, and probably in some other territories as well. But since majority of the clients that we are serving and we wanted to serve is based in the Philippines, $1.99 is a bit of a conversation that we need to make with our clients. But really, feedback would always be the impact on financials. They love the ability of the platform to forecast the impact on revenue and the potential impact on the productivity, because as you know, outsourcing and offshoring sector in the country is heavily driven by productivity. So if you don't have enough people to answer volume, either you pay the penalty for missing those volume, or
Right.
the client will take out some X number of volume, which will have a direct impact on P&L. Second, clients is loving the fact that they now have the visibility on the overall trends on the sentiments and experience of their employees. I don't know if people would believe, but I'm telling you, executives are very, very interested in the overall welfare of their employees. And they love the fact that the platform is able to quantify and qualify the sentiments, the trends on the sentiments and experience of their people, so they can better allocate, resources that matters to their employees. So those are the top two things that we are getting from our clients, at least for now.
And that's just $1.99,
A
right?
dollar and 99.
Quite affordable. But then for sure, your clients, your customers are in the BPO sector. That's
Yeah.
like hundreds of employees. So you must be having, you have quite an amount of revenue as a startup for sure.
well, quite the revenue, yes.
For sure.
So you're right. Not just hundreds, actually, sometimes thousands.
Thousands. Yeah. Yeah.
Because again, the BPO sector in the country is just so big. Like when I was in South Korea, when I told them that our target market is the small medium enterprises, like small medium BPO sector, they were like, "Okay, what's their population?" And I told them it's between 1,000 to 1,500. They were like telling me, "No, that's a big company for us already."
Really?
But I'm like telling, no, in
Thousands.
the
Yeah.
in the Philippines, that's just a small BPO
It's a
company.
regular BPO
Yeah,
for you.
medium BPO company, because I've seen like I know a BPO company with over 100,000 employees just in the Philippines alone. Accenture has about a little over 80,000, I think, in the Philippines alone. So
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's go back to the tech. Since we're talking about AI, can you help us understand how do you utilize AI to enhance or to use it? How do you use AI in Better Teams on the platform itself?
the AI or the algorithm that's available in the Better Team platform is built to digest big amount of data.
Right.
Um, so what it does, so we're using different algorithms. We mix and match and combine, and through the retraining process that we're doing internally, we get to identify which one would be the best. At the same time, through the same retraining, we get to identify what kind of data we should be monitoring and looking at. So the algorithm is designed to digest huge amount of data, and these are data that are related to the employee journey, overall journey of an employee. So by looking at several data points and different commonalities and trends in all of those data, the algorithm is built to identify whether the likelihood. In predicting the likelihood of this employee from leaving. What's good about that algorithm is that it is looking at over 120 data points. So,
That's
and
a
by
lot.
looking at, yeah, and by looking at several data points, we get to take out the bias that may be that a specific data may bring in the digest of the algorithm. So that's how it is. At the same time, we're not just a predictive platform. We also do prescription, because at the end of the day, it's good to understand or good to know that you have X number of people that's going to be leaving from this specific department with this kind of demographic. So we can be granulated as that. On top of that, we do prescription, and the prescription is the ability of our algorithm to educate our clients as to what are the things that they can do so they can potentially mitigate the resignation that Better Team AI has predicted for them. So if we tell them that, hey, Flair is now thinking of leaving within 3 months, we get to tell our clients these are the top 3 reasons for Flair's resignation. And if you want to mitigate this resignation, if you want to win her back, these are the things that you might want to consider doing. So that's how powerful it is. So it's a predictive and prescriptive AI that we have built inside a platform.
That's perfect. Getting to understand precisely when they are leaving, right? So that you can perhaps prepare for it. And then of course it comes in towards employer. Let's go back to employer branding because you need to recruit this time, right?
Yeah.
What would your advice be to employers who want to elevate their employer branding, especially right now? Like you have Gen Zs coming in the
Mhm.
workforce, the future Gen As are coming. I don't know. So how did you manage to get, an employer to understand employer branding
Mhm.
and perhaps help them differentiate between how they're going to manage Gen Zs versus different cohort millennials or Gen Xers in their company. Did you see that trend as well?
Hmm.
The change in how you're going to manage a different type of generation.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yes, absolutely. And you know what's good thing about at least the market that we're serving right now is that they are fully aware about the entry of these new demographics of people in
Right.
the workplace. And the good thing about it also is that they are fully aware that they would have to revamp the way they do their employer branding. And at least I must say that 8 out of 10 clients that I have talked to, and I had touch based on, they are all agreeing that they would have to adopt artificial intelligence, not just to improve the way they operate their business or to improve their overall experience, the overall experience of their employees, but at the same time to elevate their employer branding. Because again, they have full understanding that there's a new demographics of people that's going to be coming in. These new demographics of people are now responding totally different from those that they have hired before.
For sure. Yeah.
And for them to be the preferred choice of these people that's entering the workforce, which by the way has a lot of options, they need to utilize the power of artificial intelligence to really beef up their employer branding. So there's not much of convincing that we're doing really in terms of them adopting on artificial intelligence. In fact, they are more focused on, okay, we love artificial intelligence. We understand that we need to adapt to it and we need to
Right.
marry it into our existing operations. But the thing is, what's the value that we can get out of it? So they are more focused on the value, not really about the money that they're gonna be spending in adapting artificial intelligence. It's really the value that they're looking at.
So either reduction of cost, timely turnaround, or augmentation of their employees, right? Um,
Yes.
in
Yeah.
terms of skill, for sure. Um, so yeah, for us on our end, since we're doing AI in marketing, for us, social media comes in as a great enabler for employer branding. For Better Team itself, how are you positioning like your messaging as a brand? How are you currently positioning yourself right now, especially that you are in the Philippines? I'm sure most of your customers, clients are, I'm not sure where, but maybe you can share that. How
Um,
are you differentiating yourself?
it's really the narrative around transforming the HR function.
Right.
So whenever we talk to potential clients and even existing clients, that's really what's resonating to them. Um, the capability of the Better Team platform to transform the HR function from an admin function into a
Right.
strategic function. Because what I have seen over the past years that I have been doing HR would be that HR is typically just an admin person going through Excel, doing some pivot, VLOOKUP, and all of those things. And that's not the HR function. An HR function should be strategic, should be involved in providing insights to stakeholders, should be involved in guiding stakeholders to make better decision with, again, balance between business and overall employee experience. And unfortunately, prior to the artificial intelligence coming in, and maybe prior to Better Team coming in, HR right now are heavily focused on just digesting data, which, by the way, again, clunky and separated in silos. Now, whenever we tell clients that, hey, with Better Team platform coming into your workplace, we are transforming your function from a typical admin into a strategic role, wherein we feed you data, we feed you insights, so you can be better at partnering with your stakeholders. And that's what they are loving. And that has always been our branding communication for our clients, that we're not just coming in as an AI platform, which is it's just good to hear that you have AI,
Yeah.
but more than that, it's really the transformation of your function into a much more strategic role. That's why you will see some of our clients, they're leaving their admin role now, and now they are being pushed to become more strategic because of the implementation of Better Team in their organization. We've seen some of our HR partners now got promoted into a much more strategic role because now we have unleashed their
True.
capabilities to really become, a strategic partner for the business.
For sure.
So that's really the narrative whenever we talk to the clients.
I love the word unleash. It's very AI at this point, you know.
And I think
Because
that's what AI will do, right? It
I
will
know it is
unleash
true though.
the power that we thought we don't have.
That's why we
And it's
often hear it now, the word unleash,
yeah,
right? Because that's
yeah,
what AI truly does. It's like a
yeah.
superpower. So speaking of superpower, if you could think of superhero that would describe Better Team as part of an organization. Let's say they onboard or they have Better Team, they get you. If you would imagine it as a superhero, what's Better Team?
Naku, I'm not a big fan of superheroes pa naman. Sino bang superhero natin dyan? Ah,
Superman, for sure.
Superman or Batman or sino ba, no? I would say Robin. Mm,
Oh,
yeah,
the
Robin is a
sidekick?
superhero, the sidekick. Because,
Uh-huh.
Better Team will always
Interesting.
just, yeah, Better Team is just gonna sit on the side. Better Team will provide the support you needed. Better Team will provide you some sort of advice. And you being, um, sinong main ni Robin? Si,
Batman.
si Batman. Oh. And at the end of the day, Batman will make a decision. So so we are more of like, a technology on the sideline,
Yeah.
providing you insights, providing you inputs. And if you need help, you can always just, tap us and we will provide you hopefully everything you needed so you can be successful at what you
Oh,
do.
'di ba? The
So,
co-pilot.
oh yan, exactly. Co-pilot kami. So we're not going to be taking your job. You're going to keep your job. And in fact, we're going to make you the best at what you do as Batman. So we're
Sige.
going to be your Robin.
That's amazing. Okay. Sige, now I want you to talk to the startup founders, the HR managers, and what kind of advice would you give them, especially right now where everyone is concerned that AI might take over jobs? What's your advice to them?
Mm, yeah. So to my HR peers and maybe business people in general, I personally feel that AI will not be taking our job, but it will more of like push boundaries and push us to the limit of what we can do as, um, you know, uh, as a leader. I don't see HR, taking some of the jobs that we're doing, but more of like improving our overall well-being. And so don't be afraid. Instead, look at artificial intelligence as sort of like an additional power in our capability. So that's one thing. Another thing also for the business leaders out there, it's about time that you adapt on artificial intelligence because if you don't, your clients will do and they're gonna leave you.
Oh
So
gosh.
and then lastly, I've seen a lot of businesses adapting to artificial intelligence to improve their overall delivery of services or operations in general. Folks, I'm telling you, don't just invest on artificial intelligence for operations. Also invest for artificial intelligence to improve employee experience. You have to understand that your productivity is purely dependent on how engaged and how productive your employees are. So don't just invest on artificial intelligence to improve your tools, to improve your knowledge base. Also invest on artificial intelligence to monitor and improve the overall experience of your people. And sadly, not so much companies are investing on AI for employee experience. So that's a quick call for all of the business leaders out there. For the startup founders, you need to find ways on how to incorporate artificial intelligence. If you are a B2B business, I've seen a lot of businesses really expressing so much interest on how AI can be integrated into the overall value that you can provide to them. And so if there's an opportunity for you to incorporate AI, please do it now. And if you cannot find it, probably talk to a couple more people and see if there's an opportunity for you to integrate artificial intelligence on whatever services, whatever product that you're building for a specific pain that you have figured.
Yun, 'di ba? So that's where Better Team comes
Yeah.
in, 'di ba? Sige, I know you, Bo, you've been such a figure in the startup industry here in the Philippines. And one thing that I do note with you is that you have a great sense of humor. What is the value of a sense of humor, especially when handling, your employees or your superiors?
Yeah. Well, I think sense of humor is very helpful in making things light, right? Um, making things light in a sense na you're not crossing naman to be unprofessional. Kasi the HR function is always seen to be very stiff, very
True.
by the paper. Um, eh, Kaya nga may mga connotation tayo na pag pinatawag ka sa HR, we will always call them a principal's office and all
Principal.
of those, no?
Tinatawag sa
So
principal.
so that ability to incorporate humor in conversations related to HR operations and in conversations related to performance improvement is very helpful to get the engagement of of people, most especially in
For
our
sure.
team, di ba? Now that you get to somehow make them laugh because you can talk to some sort of a fun level that resonates to them the most, you get you get them to you get their buy-in more easily, I must say. So I think that's the value of sense of humor. And also in sales, like
Agree.
whenever
Yeah.
I do present to clients, like you talk to VP of HR, director of HR, these people are used to talking so what very
Corporate,
yeah, so
formal,
corporate.
di ba?
That's why whenever they talk to me and then I incorporate my sense of humor in the things that we're doing, I somehow make them laugh, and that builds that and that builds so much connection with them.
Yeah,
Because now
agree.
you're not just talking about business, but also talking about things that we do, things that we both understand because we have the same DNA. And at the same time, it's on a much lighter level. So I think that's the beauty of, sense of humor. But again, putting my HR hat
Builds a
on.
rapport, di ba?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
builds rapport. Putting my HR hat on, be very careful because you don't want to come across as being unprofessional.
Creepy. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I'm gonna report you to HR themselves.
Yes.
I believe this is also one thing that AI cannot automate, right? It makes us
Mhm.
that makes us human. Very
Yeah.
unique for like if you even use Chat GPT, for example, and then have it generate like jokes. It's
Hmm.
terrible. It's cringe. So this is a really human feature that we can be comedic or have a sense of humor. Sige, question. Other than Better Team, what other AI tools would you suggest business owners, HR professionals, or sort of founders use or explore?
For HR, I would recommend any solution that's really into LLM. Um, LLM, large language model, in a sense that we've been dealing with a lot of documents,
Right.
job offers, agreements, and some other stuff, performance reviews, and all of those things. And unfortunately, we just don't have that luxury of time to go through them one by one. Imagine if you have an AI that can read through all of those documents, powered by large language model.
Right.
Um, the typical 1 week that you're spending in figuring out the profile of this person can be done in almost real time, but just typing in the inquiry on that platform. So if that's existing, that's definitely one to improve your function. Um, for founders, I think it depends on your key focus area. If you are into content marketing like yourself, you guys,
Yeah.
Dasha
Gen
content can
AI.
be, yeah, Dasha content, because I personally feel that marketing, building content can be outsourced to someone else.
Yeah.
So founders
True.
can focus on what matters most. And what are those?
Super agree.
Acquiring clients, supporting clients, managing investors. Those are the big stuff that's really rolling up to the founder's role. And so the marketing, building content, creating graphics, marketing design. I personally feel that that can be outsourced to an agency that's powered by AI, and that could be you guys. And then for sales automation, I've seen a lot of
Right.
platforms there already. So yeah, so those are the platforms that I have in mind at least.
That the AI platforms that can help all
Yeah,
these business leaders.
yeah.
There's a thing.
I feel that they have to figure out
Uh-uh.
what are the things that should be rolling up to my function that really, that I needed to be very 100% focused, and what are
Right.
the things that I can, just give to someone
Delegate.
else.
Mhm.
Yeah, delegate to a third party or delegate to an AI platform. So I
Diba?
think leaders, founders, business owners must have that ability to figure out what are your priorities and what are the things that you can delegate. That
I
way
agree.
you can easily just figure out, okay, I'm going to give this to someone else.
Yeah, during one of my talks, I received that question. Like, it was a very specific case study. So my response was like, figure out the case study that you want to have AI solve, and
Mhm,
then probably find a tool around it or a solution. Because it's
mhm.
not every tool is applicable to your use case, diba?
Yes.
Agree. Yeah. So eto, since we are in the topic of HR, and I've seen a lot of updates about this, but what do you think? Eto daw yung future of HR. For example, I attend an interview. My profile is already pre-vetted with AI. I attend, but then it's not me. It's my avatar. It's my AI avatar. Answering questions, attending that final interview. And then on the other hand, maybe the HR person is also using AI to take down notes. That's just one use case.
Mhm.
Do you see this becoming a trend in HR, like AI talking to another AI for HR?
For HR, no. Um, Personally feel that it's not gonna happen. HR is more focused on streamlining the hiring process. Now we're talking about hiring, right? For this specific example. And when they say streamlining the hiring process, instead of their recruiter doing the initial, second, and third interview,
Right.
the artificial intelligence can just do that for them. But within that hiring process, there's still going to be a face-to-face conversation. There's going to be a human-to-human conversation that's going to happen. Because if there's one thing that I love about, at least now in the HR world, is that they fully understand that AI will just help them be better at what they do, but it will never take away the human in the overall function. So yeah, they're probably making that assumption, but me putting my HR hat on and based on the conversations that I've been having in the space, nope, not gonna happen. There's still gonna be someone that's gonna be interviewing you, who's by the way a live human being. So too bad for some folks who's gonna be using artificial intelligence to attend an interview, because still there's gonna be a human validation that's gonna happen in between.
There's always going to be a human in the loop. So aside from
Yeah.
all these very sci-fi applications of AI and HR, as an experienced leader in this space, where do you see AI might transform this industry in the next 5 years, I would say?
At least for the HR function, you will see a lot of automation being implemented in the space. You will see a lot of integration. Actually, we are seeing it already. Integration in a sense that gone are the days that if you're building the platform and you're not ready for integration, clients may not subscribe to you. Because now with artificial intelligence coming in, integrating into the overall operations, they wanted to make sure that this artificial intelligence that sometimes they are building internally will have access to external data. So if you are a platform that doesn't have an endpoint to connect that API or whatnot, then they may not subscribe to you. So integration um, will drive transformation in the HR function. Number two, all of the admin tasks, I am seeing at least 80% of the admin tasks will now be transitioned to artificial intelligence. And so people that are doing admin tasks today will be transitioned into a much more strategic function.
Right.
So
True.
be ready and be open-minded into the new demand of this new work that's going to be given to you. Um, I'm also seeing trends where um, a lot of now that work is becoming borderless, the HR function will now be spending more money to subscribe or to implement HR technology in their organization, because now a lot of companies are transitioning into a borderless work arrangement, meaning you don't be surprised if you are working with someone from Singapore, someone from Africa, someone from this location, because you're just going to be one team altogether. And so HR, understanding that there's going to be different cultures, there's going to be different people working the same job, they want to see how the experience and productivity of these people are trending, hence their decision to subscribe on AI-enabled HR technology, which also means that HR will now be getting additional budget from the executive, because also I've seen executives supporting that effort of transforming the HR function into a much more strategic function.
Amazing. Okay, let's look towards that better future with better team and
Yeah.
AI, di ba? Okay, last part, let's do rapid fire. This is our favorite part, I would say. Sige. I'll give you, I would say, two words, two phrases, and then just answer which one you like. Okay. Um, in-person work or work from home?
Work from home.
In-person interview, final interview, or online final
In
interview?
person. In
In
person final
person
interview.
over coffee,
Yes. Sometimes walking along BGC. I did that.
for sure. Live events, live meetings, live events, or virtual webinars.
Live events.
Okay. Creative brainstorming or data-driven decisions?
That's tough. Can I marry both? 50-50?
Choose one.
Um, creative. I always wanted to
Oh,
challenge status
really?
quo.
Okay. Amazing. Focused work or multitasking?
Multitasking.
Okay. AI or human creativity?
Oh my. I want to marry both. Human creativity.
You really are a rebel. You side with the humans.
Yeah.
Okay. Eto, what trend do you think is overhyped? It doesn't mean just business or HR or AI. It could be anything under the sun. What trend do you think is overhyped?
Overhyped. Ano ba? Ang mga overhyped ngayon.
Don't say
Uh,
beanie. You're gonna have a lot of hate. Diba, guys? Don't say pantropico.
ano bang mga overhyped ngayon? AI is overhyped.
For sure. Yeah. It's
Uh,
bloated.
oo, super bloated na. Um, I want to say something political pero wag na.
Sige.
Because I think that's
Later
the
na lang pag
very
coffee natin.
the very hype topic now eh.
Okay. Sige, sige. Let's skip that. What's one skill you think every professional should learn?
Oh, data science. Oh
Oh,
man, I'm telling
really?
you. After sabi ko nga sa team ko rin, Flair, matapos ng lahat ng mga, once we've figured out the autopilot na better team and, we're up and running, I wanted to enroll myself into an executive education on data science.
Data science.
Yeah, learn data science.
Oh gosh, yes. That's the future. If you want to
Yeah.
control the machines, learn how they work.
Yes,
Diba?
exactly. Most
Yun.
especially if you are in the space of AI, at least you get to understand, a little bit deeper of it, right? Kasi
Mm.
obviously, mas malalim mo ang understanding ng mga nag-aral talaga.
Yeah.
But for you as an executive and someone running the business, it makes sense that you also understand how things work. So para hindi na high level ang mga usapan nyo pag sa data science, now that you have studied it, at least siguro mapapagitna ka
Agree.
na. Di ba?
Mm. Yun. Sige, last one. Give us a recommendation. Either a book, a course, a film. You recommended data science. What else? What's your recommendation? Could be a song, film, course, or book.
Ay naku,
Go
alam mo
ahead.
naman I'm a big fan of K-drama.
I didn't know. Give me a recommendation.
Well, not work related, pero tayo mga founders, business owners, sometimes um, we have we have to learn how to disconnect from the
Agree.
chaos of the things that
Yep.
we do, right? Go watch Lovely Runner. Beautiful, beautiful K-drama.
Taking notes.
Yeah. So go watch it. Not work related, not related to whatever you do. Pero sabi ko nga sa inyo, I encourage you to, step out, 'di ba, and watch this drama.
Oh,
So,
yun. Disconnect. Okay, let's go back. Final advice for HR managers, startup founders, business owners.
adopt AI. It's about time that you figured out, a space in your function that you can automate. Because again, we are at an era where we would need to prove that we still matter. Our functions still matter. Um, because no matter whatever you do, AI will enter the workplace. and it will
Great.
eat up whatever things that can be automated, things that that's redundant. And if you want to keep your job, and if you want to get promoted, start upskilling, learn new things, most especially things related to artificial intelligence, so you can communicate your value to your organization, to your investors, uh, to your executives. I think that's how you're going to be able to protect your job, because at the end of the day, AI will really come in. That's the truth. And you need to figure out on how to upskill yourselves.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Bo, for being our guest for this episode, and good luck with Better Team. I'm gonna contact you for advices later on as a startup founder myself. But yeah, let us know, how do we find you? Where do we go so that we can check Better Team? What are your plans as well for Better Team in the next few months?
Oh, yeah. So obviously you can find us online. Just go to betterteam.com. Keep in mind that team for Better Team is spelled with two E's. That's how different we are.
Yeah.
So it's betterteam.com. We are pretty much on Google. You can even type my name, Bo Better Team. Um, but yeah, that's where we are in the World Wide Web. We're also participating in some conferences that's going to be happening in the coming months, like next week. Um, that's from June 4th until June 6th. We're going to be in Singapore at Marina Bay Sands to join Super AI, where we are going to showcase our technology. We are also going to be participating at the Contact Center Association of the Philippines annual conference in Cebu. If you are in the area, we would love you to come visit our booth, learn more about what we do. And then come October of this year, we're going to be joining the annual conference of the IT Business Process Association of the Philippines. That's going to be happening in Manila as well. So for our interested, for those interested folks in the space of BPO, outsourcing and offshoring, that's where you can find us, and some other events that's being scheduled still.
There. Those are the wicked thoughts of Bo Discarga of Better Team. Thank you so much, Bo.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And that was the latest episode of Wicked Thoughts. Make sure to subscribe and join the host on The Wicked at thewckd.com. Thank you to our sponsors, the company Cebu, Third Team Media, Dasho Work, Dasho AI, and DashoContent, a content team for your marketing department. Tune in for more wicked conversations right here at Wicked Thoughts.